Hey everyone, great to see you here on the How to English podcast channel.
Hello. So glad you could join us.
We are about to begin another fascinating deep dive, this time into language, culture, and context.
And today, we're really taking a deep, concentrated look at a topic that is, it's just so foundational to modern English fluency, but it's often overlooked.
It really is. We're talking about the language of baseball.
That's right, the language of baseball.
And for many people, baseball, they call it the national pastime in the U.S., but it's also profoundly popular in places like Japan and Korea. It might just seem like a sport.
Just a game. But the truth is, the baseball diamond is where some of the most useful, powerful, and just succinct metaphors in the English language were born.
Absolutely. So our mission for the learner is actually pretty simple.
We want to give you a true shortcut. We are going to be extracting the essential vocabulary of baseball so you can quickly understand not just the words themselves.
Right, but more importantly, their metaphorical use in business, in academic settings, and just in daily conversation.
And we found that the language of baseball is particularly powerful because it gives us these really concrete, structured ways to talk about the chaos of professional life.
That's such a good way to put it. How do you describe an unexpected problem really quickly?
You use a curveball.
Exactly. Or how do you describe a massive success?
You use a home run.
These terms are, they're linguistic shortcuts. They really provide structure for things that are, unpredictable.
And because clarity is so important here, we're going to move at a measured, thoughtful pace. We really want to focus on the cultural weight and the utility of each phrase so that every concept sticks with you.
Okay, so to set the scene and to demonstrate just how much specialized language is packed into this one sport, we're going to drop you right into a little snippet.
Yeah, a bit of exciting commentary from a game happening at Ritchie Stadium.
So as we act this out, just listen carefully to all the terms we're getting ready to unpack together.
Let's jump right in.
Hello, baseball fans, and welcome back to today's game. My name is Rick Fields.
And I am here once again with the man that seals the deal, Bob Copeland. It's a beautiful day to see two world-class teams face each other.
The crowd is quiet now. The national anthem has just finished, and the umpire has signaled to begin. It's time to play ball. Roger Vargas is up at bat.
Okay, here we go.
The pitcher winds up. And strike one. That was a very deceptive curveball.
The catcher flashes the sign, the pitcher winds up again, and Vargas gets a line drive right down the center field. The outfielders are scrambling to get the ball.
Vargas gets to first base, and he's still going. The throw comes in. Vargas slides. He's safe. What a hustle.
Now with a runner on third, up at bat is Brian Okami. There's the pitch. He hits it high. It's going. That ball is gone. Home run by Okami.
What a massive hit. That puts the team ahead by 2 runs as we are at the bottom of the 5th inning here at Ritchie Stadium.
Wow. Okay, so even though that was just a few seconds of action, we probably heard, a dozen complex, specialized terms?
At least. The speed and the excitement of baseball, it demands language that's extremely precise and really fast.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that so many of those terms migrated directly into our daily vocabulary because they carry that same sense of precision and, drama.
So let's start with the absolute basics, the functional mechanics of the game.
Right. In this first section, we're going to focus on defining the core vocabulary, what we're calling the diamond lexicon, exactly as it's used on the field.
This will build a really clear foundation for all the metaphors we'll get to later. So let's start with the formal procedures, the things that kick off the game and the key people involved.
Okay, first up, the national anthem. We heard in the clip that the national anthem had just been sung before the game began.
The national anthem, this is the official song that represents a country, and it's played right at the start of most major international sports events like the World Cup or the Olympics, and definitely before baseball games. It's a tradition that sort of signals the start of the competition.
And we want to pause on this because this is actually a common point of confusion for English learners.
It really is.
Especially for those translating from, say, Romance languages or others. They often confuse this term with a literal translation of national hymns.
And that is such an important distinction to make. In professional English and, in any standardized media, the correct term for the country's song played at the start of a sporting event is the national anthem.
Right.
So let's say that phrase one more time, nice and clear.
National anthem.
National anthem. Okay, so moving from the ceremony to the action, the game really centers around one crucial figure.
The pitcher. Let's spell that. P-I-T-C-H-E-R. The pitcher.
The pitcher is the player who's primary, and I mean most important job is to throw the ball very fast and very accurately toward the batter.
They're the catalyst. They start the play, they set the defensive tone for the entire team.
And to get that speed and deception, the pitcher always performs this specific ritual. It's called the wind-up.
Yes. We heard the commentator say the pitcher winds up.
To wind up. So this is the action where the pitcher brings their arms and their body back, often kind of spinning or rotating slightly.
To prepare to throw the ball, it's all about gathering that kinetic energy, all that power, right before the throw.
There's a great analogy here. Think about, winding up a toy car or maybe a music box.
Right.
You're turning a mechanism, you're building up tension, you're storing energy so that when you release it, the action is explosive and powerful.
The pitcher is doing the exact same kind of physical preparation to maximize that velocity.
Let's say that one again. To wind up, it's the action that comes right before the throw.
And finally, for this part, let's cover the basic structural unit of the game, the inning.
Right. Our commentary ended with action at the bottom of the fifth inning.
So the inning is the period of play.
Yeah.
And this is unique. I mean, unlike basketball, which uses quarters, or soccer with its two halves, baseball is structured by these innings.
A standard game usually has 9 full innings.
And understanding this structure is, well, it's crucial. If someone mentions something like the 7th inning stretch, you know they're talking about a specific moment late in the long structured event.
So the key takeaway is that the inning defines the period of play in baseball.
Okay, now that we've got the people and the structure down, let's look at some of the dynamic actions.
We heard in the dialogue that Vargas got a line drive.
A line drive. This is one of the most exciting types of hits. It happens when the batter connects with the ball and it travels low, flat, and extremely fast.
Its defining feature is its trajectory, right? It just flies almost parallel to the ground for a long way before it drops.
Exactly. And we should clarify something here. In some of the sources we looked at, there was a little confusion about the line drive always traveling along the foul line.
Right.
To be clear, a line drive is defined by its flat, fast trajectory. It doesn't matter if it stays in bounds or goes foul. It's that speed and that low angle that make it so hard for the fielders to react.
And that speed forces the other players into this immediate high-pressure action.
Which brings us to our next verb, scrambling.
After Vargas's hit, the players were scrambling to get the ball.
The verb to scramble, it means to move quickly and often in a sort of disorganized way to achieve something. It implies urgency, maybe a bit of chaos because of how sudden everything is. Let's repeat that one, scrambling.
This is the perfect term for bridging that gap between the sports field and daily life. Because, let's be honest, we all scramble. Constantly.
All the time. Think about a professional context. You might be in a meeting, and suddenly there's a technical glitch. The whole IT team starts scrambling to get the network back online before the big presentation.
Right, they're moving fast, they're under pressure, maybe tripping over cables. It's urgent, it's quick, and it is not perfectly neat.
Or a more personal one.
Yeah.
Imagine you realize your passport expires next week, but you have an international flight tomorrow. You would be scrambling to call the embassy, gather your documents, and rush through the whole application process. It just captures that frantic, time-sensitive energy.
That reminds me of last week. I had this huge proposal due. My laptop just crashed an hour before the deadline.
Oh, that's the worst. I was absolutely scrambling. I was moving files to a backup drive, running to the printer. It felt like pure chaos, even though I was trying to be efficient.
That is precisely the feeling that word captures. It's not just moving fast, it's moving fast because of some external pressure and urgency.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we pivot into how these specific baseball terms become these powerful metaphors in business, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, tell us. Have you ever used the word scrambling in your daily life?
Share a situation where you had to scramble to get something done, maybe as finishing a project, catching a train, or making a last-minute dinner reservation. Write your answer in the comments below. We love seeing how you integrate this vocabulary.
Yeah, that's a great exercise. It really forces you to think about the word actively. Okay, so now let's transition.
Let's move from the field mechanics to the true power of this deep dive. The crossover influence.
This is where baseball language really provides structure and energy to our professional lives.
This next set of phrases, we're talking about up to bat, strike one, curveball, and home run. These are really the cornerstone of American professional communication.
I agree. If you can master these 4, you will immediately sound more fluent and, more natural.
So let's start with the one that signals opportunity and responsibility. Up to bat.
Literally in the game, Roger Vargas or Brian Okami was up at bat. They were standing at home plate, bat in hand, ready to hit. It is their designated moment to perform.
Right, but figuratively, and this is what's most important for fluency, the phrase up to bat means it's your turn now, and the responsibility to deliver is all yours.
It clearly signals a shift of focus and expectation entirely onto that one person.
Let's just take a moment to pronounce that key phrase clearly.
Up to bat.
Up to bat.
So imagine a high-stakes meeting. Several teams have presented their data, and now it comes down to making the final pitch to the clients. Your project manager might look at you and say,
"The preliminary work is done. Okay, you're up to bat."
and that carries a weight that's so much heavier than just, it's your turn to speak.
Oh, for sure. It implies that the success or failure of the next few minutes, it all rests on your shoulders. You are expected to perform, to deliver the hit.
Or think about a complex team negotiation. When it's time for the legal team to step in and define the final clauses, the team leader might signal, okay, legal, you're up to bat on this one, bring us home.
It's just a really concise way of assigning both the role and the expectation of results.
It is the moment when the pressure is highest, but the opportunity is also the greatest.
Okay, now let's pivot from opportunity to, well, to describing failure, or more accurately, a warning.
Strike one.
In baseball, the batter gets 3 tries or 3 strikes before they're out and have to leave the field. So a strike one is that first recorded attempt or warning, the first missed swing.
And when it's used metaphorically in daily life, strike one means you have made your first mistake or you have received your first formal warning. It's a very clear boundary marker.
Let's repeat that one. Strike one.
This phrase is incredibly potent because it doesn't just describe a mistake. It frames that mistake within the context of an implicit 3-strike limit.
Right. It introduces accountability and the potential for a larger final consequence.
You hear this a lot in formal work reviews, especially about things like attendance or conduct. If a professional submits a report 3 days late with no explanation,
Their supervisor might say, "This is unacceptable. This counts as strike one on your record."
Exactly. And the expectation is that 2 more serious errors will result in termination. It creates this instant structure around professional conduct.
It's so much more formal and serious than just saying, "That was a mistake."
It connects the current error to future severe consequences.
But it doesn't always have to be that severe, right?
Not at all. In a teaching or coaching context, a mentor might be guiding a junior colleague. If the junior makes a clear error in a procedure,
The mentor might gently remind them, "Hey, remember, we always cross-reference data. That was strike one for procedure today. Just learn from it."
right, it keeps the lesson contained within a clear, actionable framework.
Okay, so strike one deals with accountable failure. But what about problems that are completely outside of your control?
That brings us to our next crucial term, the curveball.
The famous curveball. In our commentary, the pitcher threw a very deceptive one.
Literally, a curveball is a pitch that is intentionally thrown, well, not straight. It deviates, it bends or curves unexpectedly in the air, making it extremely difficult for the batter to predict where it's going.
And so figuratively, a curveball means an unexpected, difficult problem or situation that is hard to handle.
It's hard to adjust too quickly because it just came out of nowhere. It's the perfect term for discussing external surprise.
Let's focus on that key term now, curveball.
And what's so fascinating here is why this metaphor is so popular. It implies that the difficulty wasn't your fault. It was thrown to you.
Yeah, that's a great point. It acknowledges the complexity and the surprise factor at the same time.
I can really relate to that. I remember leading a project where we had secured all the funding, everything was going great.
And then,
2 weeks before launch, the lead regulator announced a completely new compliance standard. We had to rebuild half the system.
wow, that is a huge curveball.
Thrown by the government. We had to totally reorganize. The team wasn't making errors. The external environment just shifted suddenly and unexpectedly.
Here are a couple more ways you might hear this phrase used. Example 1 for project management. The client accepted the budget last week, but today they threw us a curveball by demanding 3 new features for the same price.
That's an impossible, unexpected demand. It requires a rapid, strategic shift.
Or example 2, a personal surprise. I thought the job interview was going great, but the interviewer threw me a curveball when they asked a complex technical question way outside my specialty.
You were blindsided by the unexpected difficulty.
You can even use it proactively. If you're preparing for a difficult presentation, you might tell your team, we need to be ready to handle any curveballs they might throw at us about our Q4 projections.
Right. It means anticipating tricky, unpredictable questions.
So the curveball is an excellent phrase for explaining difficulty without, assigning blame. It just acknowledges the challenge was hard to predict.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. We've covered these major terms that are useful every single day. Uptat, strike one, and curveball. They structure our understanding of responsibility and challenge.
And if you are finding this deep dive useful, if this focused content is helping you become a more fluent, well-informed learner,
please take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us tremendously and lets us know what kind of knowledge you want us to unpack next.
it really does. Okay, now let's move from challenges to the ultimate positive term.
Home run.
Brian Okami delivered a massive defining moment in the game with that home run in our dialogue.
Literally, a home run is when the batter hits the ball so far out of the playing area that the batter and all the runners on base can score points. It's just maximal success on the field.
And figuratively, a home run means a great success, a decisive victory, or a major significant accomplishment that dramatically exceeds all expectations.
That success phrase is definitely worth repeating. Home run.
In the professional world, I don't think anything signifies success more clearly than hitting a home run. It's used as the highest possible praise.
Let's think about some nuanced business applications. Example 1, a strategic win. That new marketing campaign wasn't just successful, it brought in 3 times the leads we expected. We hit a massive home run.
See, that describes a success that changed the game, just like Okami's hit put his team ahead.
Or it can be used for internal praise. Great job presenting the quarterly figures to the board. You were clear, concise, you handled every question perfectly. You really hit a home run with your delivery.
That focuses on the quality of the performance itself, indicating unqualified success.
We also see it in, say, nonprofit or academic settings. The researchers' discovery about the new material was a home run for sustainable energy research.
It signals a breakthrough, a monumental achievement in a specific field.
The power of the term is that it carries this inherent energy and drama. It's so much stronger than saying, that went well.
It says, that was perfect, defining, and conclusive.
Absolutely. The success terms are probably the easiest to integrate because everyone loves praising a job well done.
Okay, so now that we've established the 4 core crossover terms that provide structure for chaos responsibility was up to bat. Warning with strike one, surprise with curveball, and victory with home run.
Let's expand our knowledge base with some secondary vocabulary. This next section integrates additional terms that will add some real flavor and nuance to your English.
We'll start with descriptions of excellence and some of the other personnel. We heard the commentator mention that 2 world-class teams were facing each other.
World-class. This term is pretty straightforward, but it's so valuable. It just signifies that something is among the best in the entire world.
Meaning, it is of exceptionally high quality or standard.
And you can apply this everywhere. A company might strive to provide world-class customer service.
Meaning, service at the global standard of excellence. Or an academic institution might hire a world-class professor for its physics department.
It's just a powerful adjective for excellence. Okay, next, let's clarify the role of the umpire.
The umpire is the person who controls and judges the baseball game. They are the final authority on the rules.
They decide if a pitch is fair or foul, if a runner is safe or out, and whether all the game procedures are being followed.
And it is important for new learners to know the difference between the umpire and a referee.
That's a good point.
While a referee typically manages field play in soccer or basketball or hockey, the umpire is the specific term used in baseball and often in tennis.
We also briefly mentioned 2 other specialized roles, the catcher and the outfielder.
The catcher is the defensive player who is positioned directly behind home plate, squatting behind the batter. Their job is to receive the pitch if the batter misses, and to manage the defensive strategy for the pitcher.
And the outfielder.
These are the defensive players positioned in that vast grassy area far from home plate. Their job is to run down and catch balls that are hit a really long distance.
So their placement is critical for intercepting those long line drives or potential home runs.
Exactly. Okay, let's look at terms related to status and quick actions on the field. When Vargas ran hard, he slid into the base and the umpire declared him safe.
Safe. In the game, this means the player successfully reached the base before the opposing team could touch them with the ball. It's a declaration of, temporary success and safety.
And metaphorically, being declared safe is often used in situations where you just barely avoid a negative consequence.
Like if you narrowly avoided a traffic ticket, you might say, "Shoo, I'm safe this time."
Right. And following Okami's home run, his team was ahead by 2 runs.
Ahead. This is a simple but essential term. It just means being in front or having more points than your opponent.
The metaphorical use is simple and universal in business,
We are ahead of our sales targets this quarter.
in school.
I started the project early, so I am ahead of my classmates.
Yeah.
It just signifies leading or succeeding in some kind of measured race.
Now let's explore a phrase that highlights that element of speed we talked about earlier, off the bat.
Literally, it means the instant the ball leaves the wooden bat. Figuratively.
It means immediately, without delay, or the first thing that comes to mind.
If you ask a colleague a really complicated question and they give you an instant, intelligent answer, you might praise them by saying,
Wow, you had that answer right off the bat.
it emphasizes speed and preparedness.
Yeah.
It connects the field's demand for instant reaction to the business world's demand for quick thinking.
Or, in a brainstorming session, if someone suggests a brilliant initial idea, you might say, that suggestion off the bat is perfect, let's run with it. It captures the immediacy of the thought.
Okay, finally, we're going to introduce 3 really valuable bonus terms. These are common idioms in everyday English.
The first is the ballpark figure.
Ballpark figure. This term connects the physical space of the ballpark, that large playing field, to the concept of estimation.
So a ballpark figure means an approximate number, a rough estimate.
And why do we use the image of the ballpark? Because it's this big defined area, but you don't need to measure it down to the centimeter.
You just need to be in the general vicinity of the answer.
Exactly. If a financial planner asks you for an initial cost analysis for a new building, you'd provide a ballpark figure.
Estimate that's close enough to start planning, but not exact. You might say, I need a ballpark figure for the Q3 budget by the end of the day.
You're signaling that precision isn't required right now, just proximity.
Okay, next up, the term screwball.
A screwball in baseball is a type of pitch that moves unusually. It bends in the opposite direction of a typical curveball, which makes it exceptionally tricky.
Therefore, figuratively, a screwball is often defined as an unusual, crazy, or eccentric person, someone who is unpredictable or strange.
And note the key difference here. A curveball is an unexpected situation or problem.
Right. But a screwball, the noun, is an unpredictable or eccentric person. The unpredictable nature of the pitch transfers to the unpredictability of the person.
And finally, a very enthusiastic synonym for home run.
Hit it out of the park.
Literally, hitting the ball so hard it leaves the stadium.
And figuratively, it means to do something extremely well, even better than a standard home run. It implies spectacular success, and it often focuses on the action itself.
You might tell a designer, your presentation on the new logo absolutely hit it out of the park. It was brilliant.
It emphasizes the successful action rather than just the successful result. It's just a little bit more energetic than simply saying home run.
This raises an important question.
We have discussed how many baseball terms describe success like home run or hit it out of the park, and others describe challenges like strike one or curveball.
So what stands out to you as the most useful baseball phrase to use in your job or school? Which phrase do you feel is the most powerful linguistic shortcut for communicating complexity?
Write your comment below and tell us which phrase you will use first.
That's a fantastic way to internalize the vocabulary. Okay, so we have journeyed through this entire lexicon.
Moving from the specific actions of the pitcher and the umpire to the generalized metaphors that really structure modern communication.
In this final section, we want to synthesize all that new knowledge by revisiting that initial commentary dialogue.
Our goal is to make sure that every phrase, every action, now resonates clearly and with full meaning in your mind.
When we first heard that dialogue, it might have sounded fast and dense and full of strange technical language.
But now, after defining the national anthem, the inning, the pitcher winds up, and understanding the difference between a high-speed line drive and a deceptive curveball.
The excitement and the meaning should be crystal clear.
Let's just review the highlights of the original action and understand the context completely. When we hear the pitcher winds up in strike one,
You now understand that the pitcher is gathering maximum energy, and the batter has received his first official warning for failing to capitalize on the opportunity he had while he was up at bat.
right? And when Vargas gets a line drive, You now know that flat, fast hit forced the defensive players to start scrambling immediately.
And when he slides and he's safe, we recognize his temporary victory in avoiding that immediate out.
And of course, the crowning moment going, that ball is gone, home run by Okami.
That immediately translates to major decisive success. You understand this puts the team emphatically ahead.
The utility of this language crossover is truly massive. Understanding these sports metaphors isn't a luxury.
No, it is essential for following native English conversation, especially in business and project management. They provide such powerful, vivid imagery.
These phrases are that linguistic structure we talked about earlier. They allow you to communicate complex professional situations with incredible brevity. They just carry inherent energy and meaning and cultural context.
And here is a final provocative thought for you to consider, building on all the concepts we've covered.
Since baseball is a sport built entirely on precise, quantifiable structure, 9 innings, 3 strikes, 4 bases, the language it produces naturally provides structure for the chaos in our lives.
By using these terms, you are categorizing the messy, unpredictable nature of work and life.
You're defining an unforeseen problem as a curveball. You're turning a difficult presentation into the opportunity of being up at bat.
And you're defining a major victory as a home run. You are using the structured framework of the game to name and therefore manage the unpredictable.
This knowledge extracted here gives you the ultimate tool, the linguistic confidence to categorize and manage your next big professional or personal challenge using the shared, potent vocabulary of the American pastime.
Fantastic. That was a thorough deep dive.
Yeah. We covered the core operational terms, the national anthem, the inning, the pitcher, and the powerful metaphor terms like up to bat.
The tricky curveball and the decisive home run.
Keep practicing these phrases, look for them in professional articles, listen for them in meetings, and start experimenting with using them yourself.
Once you start noticing them, you will realize just how often this baseball lexicon is used to communicate high-stakes situations. You now have the full context to use them correctly and with confidence.
And if this focused information helped you on your journey to becoming a well-informed learner, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive into cultural and linguistic shortcuts.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration. We look forward to seeing you for our next deep dive. Until then, goodbye.